Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Let me first wish you every success in the North Macedonia chairpersonship. Your Excellencies, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to return to Vienna and the Permanent Council for my fourth appearance. And honest, I would like to thank you all for your fruitful cooperation between OSCE and OSCE PA. I look forward to continuing our close collaboration in the coming months as our Assembly prepares for its annual session in Vancouver. I have had the pleasure to sit down with several of you this week. These exchanges have been useful to make sure that OSCE Parliamentary Assembly stays in tune with the priorities and the concerns of the participating states, but also to inform you about the priorities of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. By this, we continue to play an instrumental role as the parliamentary dimension of the OSCE. Today, when the Helsinki principles at the European Security Order are under pressure, our collaboration is more important than ever. Your Excellencies, as parliamentarians, we are lawmakers scrutinizing the government, the implementation of laws, and deciding over the budget in our national parliaments. In the OSCE PA, our duties are a bit different. We are not scrutinizing the OSCE. We are not adopting any laws, nor OSCE budget, but we are very strong in our positions, our goal. As representatives of the people, we have the mandate of more than 1 billion people to support the European Security Order, including the 3 pillars. We debate, we make statements and adopt declarations. We report to our national parliament and bring back the engagement to our own constituencies. By this, I say that we are elected by the people, we act on behalf of the people, and we are responsible in front of the people. The 24th of February will be a day of horror, marking 1 year of Russia's illegal war against Ukraine. OSCE PA was gathered for the winter meeting when the terrible news of Russia's invasion reached us. The atmosphere was unrealistic, but we parliamentarians stood firm. OSCE PA has been clear in its position since 2014 on the illegal annexation of Crimea. And we continue to stand side by side with the people of Ukraine. The Russian war of aggression against Ukraine constitutes the most prominent threat to the European Security Order and the foundation on which the OSCE was founded. As OSCE PA concluded in the Birmingham Declaration at our annual session, the Russian Federation, with the support of Belarus, has violated all principles of the Helsinki Final Act, and it continues to do its illegal war and assaults Ukraine. During the Ministerial Council, I called on the Council to recognize the Russian Federation as having committed gross and uncorrected violation of the Helsinki Final Act by pursuing the illegal war of aggression in Ukraine. I would once again like to call on the participating state to join the Parliamentary Assembly in using this language. The war against Ukraine and its incalculable impact on peace, security, and cooperation in every corner of the OSCE region will, of course, feature prominently on the agenda of our upcoming winter meeting. Our special debate will help determine what the OSCE PA can do and highlight some of our Assembly's contribution to peace and security based on respect for Ukraine's right to its international recognized territory. I will now focus on some critical issues of Russia's war against Ukraine, where OSCE PA take actions. Approximately 8 million Ukrainians have fled the war. 90% of them are women and children. Our ad hoc committee on migration has prioritized sharing solutions to the challenges associated with the large numbers of refugees fleeing the war in Ukraine. Last month, the committee visited the Czech Republic, which sheltered the largest number of Ukrainian refugees per capita. In the coming months, will the committee continue to identify best practice to ensure that our participate and provide them with the conditions to pursue their lives and productive members of society. The committee is also in contact with the European Commission and OSCE governmental side. As parliamentarians, it's our duty to speak out against the ongoing war crimes, to keep informed and act as an alarm bell wherever we are. OSCE PA will continue to put collective pressure to pursue accountability for atrocities committed in Ukraine. And we are also holding an eye and acting for release of political prisoners. And let me once again recall the illegal arrest of Mr. Vladimir Kara-Murza. And I do kindly ask you, ambassadors, to support release of Vladimir Kara-Murza. I have heard that his health is weakened, and I think it's important to support his release. I do also say that all those employees from OSCE who are under arrest, they should be released. And this is something we stand behind as OSCE Parliamentary Assembly. So far, have no dialogue or diplomacy managed to bring the aggressor, Russia, to the same table as Ukraine. OSCE PA stands ready to support parliamentary diplomacy and promote return to peace in conformity with international law and the Helsinki principles. Evidently, there is a great desire within the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly to support Ukraine the best we can in its struggle for its independence, its sovereignty within the internationally recognized border, and the dignity of the people of Ukraine. During our autumn meeting in Warsaw, our standing committee debated a proposed amendment to our rules of procedure that would have established a suspension mechanism for delegations from participating states found in clear, gross, and incorrected violation of the Helsinki Finance Act as a result of large-scale military operations. With the formal conditions for the adoption of this proposed amendment were not met, our debate clarified how we can translate our overwhelming support for Ukraine into acts, and we will continue to do so. But while most of our attention is focused on Ukraine, we must also make sure that other regions and thematic priorities remain high on the PA's agenda in 2023. And I am pleased that our Central Asian colleagues have increased their activity in OSCE PA. And they have also urged to cooperate. And I would like to mention that there are multiple challenges, as a result of the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, the energy crisis, as well as the multi-faced impacts of the war in Ukraine. OSCE PA will continue to promote intra-regional cooperation and parliamentarism through the active participation of members from Central Asia and Mongolia in the work of the Assembly. I am particularly encouraged by the resumed engagement of Turkmenistan in our activities, but also the other Central Asian countries who have increased their activity in OSCE PA. In order for OSCE PA to continue to be relevant for the 1 billion people living in the region, all perspectives of the member countries must be heard. As I noted in my last address, we need stronger OSCE involvement in the South Caucasus to ensure long-lasting peace and stability. The leadership of our third committee recently visited Georgia to highlight the human impact of Russia's occupation of Abkhazia and South Ossetia regions. OSCE PA will continue to explore how parliamentarians can support ongoing efforts to ensure a comprehensive peace between Armenia and Azerbaijan. In addition, an economic conference hosted by the Second Committee on the Mali Majlis of Azerbaijan will provide a space to discuss opportunities for sustainable growth and development. We are closely monitoring political developments in the Western Balkans. OSCE PA observed the election in Bosnia-Herzegovina and have taken actions to support an interparliamentary forum to be held in Skopje. OSCE PA intend to reinforce our partnership with the Assembly of North Macedonia during its chairpersonship of OSCE. Mr. Chair, as the chairperson in office, Foreign Minister Osmani underlined in his inaugural address, North Macedonia can testify firsthand to the benefits of the OSCE field presence. Therefore, I warmly welcome the chairpersonship's goal to reinforce the OSCE attention to people on the ground. I welcome that it was possible to extend by 1 year most of these mandates, but I must express concerns over the limited prolongation granted to the OSCE mission to Moldova. I can personally attest to the remarkable assistance that OSCE has provided to the people of Moldova for the past 30 years. We must protect this legacy. If we are serious about the future of OSCE, we cannot afford to weaken our assets. Ambassadors, you can count on OSCE PA's full support in placing the people at the center of OSCE. We will also continue to be reliable partners to promote greater engagement with civil society and empowerment of women and youth. In 2023, we will carry on with our efforts to promote greater youth engagement. A priority will be the implementation of the UN Security Council Resolution 2250 on youth, peace and security, and the role of parliamentarians in addressing the specific needs of youth in their contribution to peace and security issues, as outlined in the OSCE PA Birmingham Declaration. The OSCE PA network of young parliamentarians will continue to meet regularly, including here during our winter meeting. It is especially important to involve young parliamentarians in the work of the Assembly to bring their perspective in the work of the committees, ad hoc committee, and as special representatives. OSCE PA have also initiated a gender network, bringing parliamentarians together to identify and overcome the key obstacles, preventing a more complete gender equality in the OSCE region. And dear ambassadors, may I also mention that the participation of women as delegates inside the national delegations is of high importance. It's nothing that we as OSCE PA have any influence over. It's the national parliament who nominate their delegates. But I could see the importance of a more women delegates. As women are half of the population, and women's perspective is very important when it comes to security and peace. Ladies and gentlemen, these synergies are possible thanks to the close coordination that has been achieved over between the Parliamentary Assembly, successive chairpersonship, and the OSCE Secretariat and the institutions. These harmonized relationships serve to ensure that all the different elements of the OSCE machinery work together to achieve concrete results. We are eager as parliamentarians to contribute with our perspective to the upcoming OSCE high-level conference on climate change in March 2023. And I am pleased that Vice President Asghar Shakirov from Kazakhstan is I have appointed him as special representative on the Agenda 2030. And I think this also shows our activity for the climate. Democracy and free, fair elections are important for the European security order. OSCE PA will continue its engagement in election observations and look forward further cooperation with ODIHR to prepare for the elections we anticipate observing this year, including Kazakhstan and Turkey. Another important topic is the work to counter corruption. It is our duty as parliamentarians to increase the efforts in this area in service of our citizens. Corruption is a poison that reduces people's trust in politics, people's trust in parliamentarians, and while wrongfully grabbing resources that could be used for economic growth and welfare of the people. OSCE PA will continue to work closely with the OSCE executive structures in promoting transparency and accountability across the region. Also, with ODIHR and together with the representative on freedom of the media, we will continue to highlight the safety of female journalists online through joint events and publications and the achieve engagement of our members. Counterterrorism is highly prioritized, and the threat against the security of the OSCE region does not stop at national border. The ad hoc committee on countering terrorism will deepen the partnership with the UN Office of Counterterrorism and engage ensembles from across the globe to better address terrorism and violent extremism. Your Excellencies, this is a comprehensive but not exhaustive overview of the OSCE PA plans to our annual session in Vancouver, during which a new president and bureau will be elected. We look forward to an ever closer working relationship with the executive structures of the OSCE and its institutions. And we will continue to engage with national parliaments to increase high-level political attention to OSCE. During the annual declaration, we will carry on raising awareness of the many policy-making tools that OSCE possesses and which participating states should make full use of. Ambassadors, I have heard that several of you are interested in contact with members of the Bureau, leadership of the committees, ad hoc committees, and special representatives. You can easily find contact information, the names at our homepage. And I encourage you to search information there because we are all eager to cooperate in the framework of OSCE. And let me also, when concluding, just mention once again that Russia's illegal war against Ukraine is the most serious threat against security and safety in OSCE region, and the OSCE PA stands firm in our support of the Ukrainian people. And as a word of conclusion, let me once again warmly thank you for your valuable cooperation since I assumed the presidency of the Parliamentary Assembly in the summer of 2021. I look forward to carrying on with the same energy during the remaining period of my presidency. Thank you, ambassadors, for listening. And I am ready to answer any questions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I thank you